Welcome to History Uncovered. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into one of the most pivotal moments of the Cold War, Operation Anadyr, the Soviet Union's secret deployment of nuclear weapons to Cuba.
And I'm Jordan. We'll explore how Nikita Khrushchev's opportunism and strategic gambles led to a confrontation that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war.
Nikita Khrushchev was known for his bold moves, often quoting Lenin, "You start something, then see what happens." This mindset defined his approach during the Berlin crises and ultimately influenced his decision to deploy nuclear weapons in Cuba.
Indeed, when his son, Sergei, asked him about the consequences of American resistance, Khrushchev dismissed the idea that anyone would start a war over Berlin. His confidence in negotiations would soon be tested on a much larger scale.
Initially, the Soviet Union was cautious about supporting Fidel Castro's regime. After all, they feared provoking the U.S. But after Khrushchev's visit to the U.S. in 1959, he dramatically shifted course, sending military aid to Cuba.
By February 1960, Khrushchev had dispatched Anastas Mikoyan to Havana, and their meeting marked a turning point. Mikoyan returned to Moscow convinced that Castro was a genuine revolutionary, igniting Soviet enthusiasm for the Cuban alliance.
Khrushchev's belief in the Cuban Revolution's authenticity was part of a broader narrative in the USSR. The Cuban struggle against American imperialism resonated deeply with Soviet citizens, inspiring a wave of support for Castro.
This connection was further solidified after the failed Bay of Pigs invasion in April 1961, which legitimized Soviet military support for Cuba in the eyes of many around the world.
After the Bay of Pigs, Castro demanded that the Soviet Union defend Cuba against future U.S. aggression. Khrushchev saw this as an opportunity to shift the balance of power.
He decided to deploy nuclear missiles to Cuba, believing it would deter American aggression and provide a strategic counterbalance to U.S. missiles in Europe.
In January 1962, President Kennedy warned Khrushchev against military support for Castro, emphasizing that a hostile neighbor would provoke a strong U.S. response.
Khrushchev, however, dismissed Kennedy's concerns, continuing to expand military aid to Cuba, including sending 650 Soviet advisors to train Cuban forces.
Despite the bravado, Khrushchev was aware of the significant disparity between U.S. and Soviet nuclear capabilities. American missiles were faster and more reliable, which created a sense of urgency in Moscow.
To level the playing field, Khrushchev believed that deploying medium and intermediate-range missiles to Cuba would create a new balance of power, effectively putting American cities within striking distance.
Khrushchev rationalized his decision by highlighting the historical context. He argued that the U.S. had never faced a war on its own soil, while the Soviet Union had endured multiple conflicts.
He felt that placing missiles in Cuba was simply giving the U.S. a taste of its own medicine, asserting that it was time for the Soviets to stand up to American imperialism.
Operation Anadyr was shrouded in secrecy. The deployment of missiles to Cuba was a high-stakes gamble, one that could easily spiral into a nuclear confrontation.
Khrushchev's impulsive nature and belief in the righteousness of the Soviet cause led him to underestimate the potential consequences of this escalation.
As Operation Anadyr unfolded, the world was unaware of the impending crisis that would soon follow, the Cuban Missile Crisis, which would test the limits of diplomacy and brinksmanship.
Join us next time on History Uncovered as we explore the Cuban Missile Crisis itself and how it shaped the course of the Cold War. Thanks for listening.
Stay curious and keep exploring history with us.
See you next time.